Because of the ongoing pandemic, Sussex County Board of County Commissioner meetings conducted remotely via Zoom. The public may participate online or by telephone. For the meeting agenda, visit the Sussex County website at www.sussex.nj.us and click Commissioners under Events. To participate in the meeting, click Online Info. Via phone, dial 1-646-558-8656. Put in meeting ID 526-121-1125 and the passcode 07860, which are posted in online info. Special Commissioner meeting of March 31st, 2021 at 5 p.m. Regular business via Zoom. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Terry, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Carney,
Here.
Director Fantasia,
Here.
Commissioner Fasano, Commissioner Patillo,
Here.
Commissioner Yardley.
Here.
Number 4, public statement pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, adequate notice as defined by Section 3D of Chapter 231, PL 1975, has been made by regular mail and email, such notice being submitted on March 25th, 2021, from the Administrative Center of the County of Sussex, located at 1 Spring Street, Newton, New Jersey, to the following: New Jersey Herald, WSUS Radio, Star Ledger, WNNJ Radio, and is also posted on the bulletin board maintained at the Administrative Center for Public Announcements, and has been submitted to the Sussex County Clerk in compliance with said act. I need an approval of the agenda, please. I need a motion to approve the agenda
Still moved, Commissioner
So
Carney.
moved.
and a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Pass. There are no proclamations, certificates, presentations, no public hearings. Number 8 is a public session from the floor. This public session is for questions or comments pertaining to agenda items only. Before we open the session, we ask callers wanting to make a comment to first state your name and municipality. Clerk will create a roster and call each in order received. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less on agenda items only. I need a motion to open the floor to the public.
I'll make the motion.
And a second.
Second.
So moved.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, at this time, any member of the public that wishes to speak on the agenda, please state your name and municipality, and the clerk will create the roster.
Hi, Zoe Heath Vernon.
Okay, next. Is there any other caller?
This is Edward Lefty Grimes. I'm with Sativa Cross 501c3. I'm calling from Bayonne right now.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat your name?
Edward Lefty Grimes, and I'm from sativacross.org. We're a 501c3 in New Jersey, and I'm calling you from Bayonne.
All right, next caller.
Edie Rotundi, Hampton Township.
Next caller.
Rob Slockbauer, Vernon, New Jersey.
Next caller.
Dan Scriver, Paulsboro, New Jersey.
I'm sorry, was that Ann the first name?
Jamie, Jaime.
Paulsboro, New Jersey. All righty, next caller.
Marina Redman, Sayreville, New Jersey.
Next caller. We have 6 callers, Director.
Okay, you can begin calling them in order.
The first caller is Zoe Heath from Vernon Township.
Hi, thank you. I just had a question. I understand that pretty much the only agenda item is something in closed session pertaining to litigation with the Department of Government Services, local government services. I understand it's an executive session and there are matters that are confidential, but since it did warrant a special meeting, I was just going to ask if the public could be given a little bit more information and context about that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, your next caller is Edward Lefty Grimes from Bayonne.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm with sativacross.org. We're a organization that helps disabled people and cannabis patients' rights. Your ordinance, or not your ordinance, but your resolution.
Sir, we don't have a resolution on the agenda tonight. This public session is for comments on the agenda only. So this would not be the appropriate time to share your thoughts on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Our next caller is Katie Rotundi from Hampton Township.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Katie. Please proceed.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I know this is a special meeting, but it's also the same day as Trans Visibility Day. And since there's a proclamation for most things like Women's History Month and Black History Month, that I'm disappointed that this wasn't acknowledged when you happen to have a special meeting on that same day, because I think it's a really important date to be acknowledged, especially with how many trans individuals are targeted with violence and also how many trans youth are targeted and also commit suicide. Thank you.
Okay, just bear with me. Our next caller is Rob Slockbauer from Vernon.
Yeah, actually, I was,
Rob,
yes, I was actually going to bring up trans visibility also.
Sir, that is not on the agenda. Again, we extended the courtesy to Ms. Rotundi saying it wasn't on the agenda, but this is for commentary on
There's-
agenda items only.
There's really not much on the agenda.
Exactly, because this is a special meeting to discuss specific litigation. So that's why we called the
Right, that's-
meeting. So again, it is open to the public for commentary. There is an open public session as well that's not related to, these items, because that's just the structure of the agenda. But for this session, it is for agenda items.
I'll talk to you shortly.
Thank you.
okay. Our next caller is Jamie Slyer from Paulsboro, New Jersey.
Jamie Van Sciver. I'll save my comment
Van
for the
Sciver.
general portion. Thank you.
Okay. And then we have Marina Repkin from Sayreville, New Jersey.
It's Redmond, and I will also save my comments for later on.
All right. That concludes my roster, Director.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to close the meeting, this public session, this open public session. May I have a motion, please?
I make the motion.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Passed. Number 9 is commissioner comments. I'm not sure if there are any tonight, but I'll just go one by one to see. Commissioner Carney.
No comments, Director. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Patillo.
No comments, John, thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Yardley.
No comments tonight.
Okay. Deputy Director Fasano.
No comments from me tonight as well, Don. Thanks.
Thank you. And I have no commentary this evening. There is no consent agenda for number 10, no minutes to approve. Number 12, appointments. There are no appointments and or resignations. Number 13, there are no resolutions on the agenda. 14, awards or contract change orders or bids, no items. There is no financial report, no personnel report. Number 17, Administrator Poff. Do you have anything to report?
Thank you, Director. Just two items that were brought to my attention today that I think would be of interest to both the board as well as the public. I received notice from the governor's office. The county will be receiving next week, in addition to its 500 first doses of the Moderna vaccine, that we are scheduled to receive 500 doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine. That is coming to us not restricted. What I mean by not restricted is that the 200 or 300 doses of Johnson & Johnson that we had received to date was specifically to target the homebound population within the county, which to that
I'm
population.
sorry. Greg, can you repeat that? There was some background. Somebody got a phone call, so I missed what you had said there. You said it was not restricted and the people in the county who were homebound, and that's where we lost you.
Yep, the initial allocation of Johnson & Johnson vaccine that had come to the county had been restricted to homebound individuals, which our Division of Health has been administering to. This next amount of Johnson & Johnson vaccine that we will receive is not restricted. And I am working with our staff at the vaccination site so that we have the ability to deploy that to get even more vaccine out to the state identified eligible population. So this represents a significant increase in the total amount of vaccine that the county will be receiving, and wanted to let the board and the public be aware of that. And then also too, I received today, and very, very happy to announce that we had almost 19,000 records or individuals who had pre-registered with our site. And we have actually been able to process just over 25% of those who have pre-registered with the county site. So we still have about just over 13,000 who continue to seek appointments, and we will continue to work through that. In addition, I've been advised that the Division of Senior Services has worked through the vast majority of seniors who have been seeking appointments as well. So we continue to make very good progress in terms of meeting the demand of those who have registered with the county, along with our senior citizen population, and will continue to keep the public and the board advised of our ability to administer even the additional vaccine that we anticipate receiving from the state. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. If you can just please keep the board updated weekly, as we do get increased numbers, because as you know, a big concern was that we were not receiving even the requested number of doses. So when we have, you said 19,000 people registered, but receiving 500 first doses a week, you know, to say 25% is some type of success over this period of time, it is based upon the fact that we've stuck every single vaccine in you know, somebody's arm that has requested, but we still have 75% left, and that's not a good number. So if you can just keep us apprised with that, I'd appreciate that. Next, we have number 18, County Council report.
Mr. Kelly is not available at this time.
Thank you. Number 19, unfinished business. Does any commissioner have unfinished business? Number 20, new business. Does any commissioner have new business? Okay, number 21, public session from the floor. This public session is for general questions or comments. Before we open up this session, we ask callers wanting to make a comment to first state your name and municipality. Clerk will create a roster and call each in the order received. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less. So you would just unmute yourself. If you called in on a telephone, you would hit *6 to unmute yourself. If you're having difficulty, if you could please just raise your hand in the icon on the Zoom session so that we can go to you. Okay, Terry, you can begin taking the list.
Zoe Heath, Vernon.
All right, next caller.
Damaris Lyra, Sussex Borough.
I'm sorry, that was very much static. Your name again?
Damaris Lyra, Sussex Borough.
Damaris Lyra, Sussex Borough. Next caller.
Kate Salerno, Sparta.
Lerna Sparta. Next caller.
Amy Van Scriver, Paulsboro, New Jersey.
Next caller.
Katie Rotundi, Hampton Township.
Next caller.
Christian Velasquez, Dover, New Jersey.
All right, next caller.
Marina, excuse me, Marina Redmond, Sayreville, New Jersey.
Next caller.
Edward Grimes. I'm calling from Bayonne.
Next caller. That concludes my list here as a roster director. Pardon
Okay.
me?
I'm sorry. Somebody else is unmuted right now, so that wasn't my voice. You can
Okay.
begin calling in order. Thank you.
The first caller is Zoe Heath from Vernon.
Hi, thank you. I guess we're not answering my question from the first public session, but I take severe issue with this board not addressing Trans Visibility Day at all, considering both current and former members of this board have had serious, incredibly horrible things to say about the LGBTQ community. So I would really appreciate if we could correct that at some point. But my other question is the county council not on the call that's exclusively about litigation? I understood somebody said he wasn't available. I don't understand if he was just in another room or off the call, but if he's not here, why are we talking about litigation? If someone could answer that, that would be very much appreciated.
County council joining us for executive session. For this portion of the meeting, he is not.
Okay, thank you. That seems kind of productive, but thank you. I appreciate you answering my question. And then can we have any more context about the litigation? I understand it's confidential, but if it warranted a special meeting, it clearly is an issue.
Not at this time. Not at this time because it is pending.
Okay, thank you.
That concludes your comments, Zoe?
Yes, thank you.
All right. The next caller is Damaris Lyra from Sussex Borough. Damaris Lyra from Sussex Borough.
Sorry, is this connection better?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'm calling again as the chair of the Sussex County Democratic Committee's Diversity and Inclusion Committee. We still have not received a response to our request for a coalition. I'm also following up on Commissioner Patillo's comment from the last meeting where she said she was going to speak to people in Newark about the coalition. I wanted to know if that happened and why she's choosing to talk to residents of Newark and not actually residents of Sussex County. As you know, Josh Gottheimer has sent a letter proving that the multiple calls from the residents has been all based in facts and accuracy. And I'm wondering why his letter has not been added to the agenda or even referenced on any of your social media or any type of communications with the residents explaining why you guys are against what he has said and proven to be correct. And that's just basically what I'm calling about. I was wondering if someone could fill me in on those two things.
Dawn, I'd like to answer that. Dawn,
Yes, Sylvia, go ahead.
I'd like to answer that if you don't mind.
No, please
What
don't.
I said was, is that okay?
Yeah, excuse me.
Okay, what I had
thought-
said was-
Wait a minute, this is Herb. I thought the protocol was we go through, we listen to everyone, and then, then if the commissioners will address questions. So if we're going
Okay,
to
that's fine.
stop and if we're going to stop and do this for one person, then you're going to do it for everyone. So I just want to say, what is the procedure we'll be following?
Understood. Well, there is nothing, by the way,
Thank
Herb, set in stone that says we must do it one way or the other. We didn't pass anything formal that stated that. Our practice is where at the end, then every commissioner can comment back. If it's a quick question, for instance, like Zoe asked something very direct, and I could answer her immediately instead of holding that to the end, which might solve, if multiple callers had the same question, it could head that off. So this evening, I'm going to leave it to the discretion of the commissioners in a regular meeting with a regular agenda that doesn't just point towards one issue, because this is not our regularly scheduled meeting where multiple issues are on the agenda and announced to the public. This is for one very specific issue. This meeting isn't a catch-all. So a lot of the questions that we get, again, if they can just be answered quickly because they're asking procedural questions, I don't mind that. So Sylvia, it's going to be your call whether you want to answer it if it's a quick or whether you want to hold that question.
No, I'll answer. I just want to clarify. At the meeting when I said if you wanted me to form an alliance like they had in Newark, because what happened in Newark was something that was so successful, none of the other states were able to do what they did. Now, I have two different people in Newark I've been speaking to understand what an alliance is and who was involved in forming it and how it worked in the community. I want to go down personally and speak to them, but my contacts are through the churches because the churches were extremely involved in all of this. And during the Easter season, I can't get to see them until after Easter. So that meeting won't take place till after Easter. And then I'll find out who were the players, how did they handle it, what did they form, and how did it work? And then I will present it back on a report when I have that information. Unfortunately, people have taken what I said and they're making it to be whatever they think an alliance is. And that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about a model specifically related to the success that they had in Newark. And that's what I'm going to report on, what that looks like, who formed it, and who was involved in that. So that's what I'm speaking about. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you. Terry?
Damaris, you still have a minute and a half.
Any response as to Gottheimer's letter?
No, we're not addressing that this evening. There was a meeting though with Congressman Gottheimer today, but two of our board members attended, and we will certainly have more information about that.
And then lastly, will there be a promise when callers use anti-Asian derogatory terms that the commissioners will stop that going forward?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I lost you at the very end. Say that again.
My last thing was, can we have a promise from the commissioners when callers call in during the public session that any anti-Asian discriminatory language regarding COVID will be stopped by commissioners?
Any racist statements made by anyone will be stopped by the commissioners regarding anything, any race.
I mean, you ignored it last time, so is this a new thing you're gonna do?
I'm sorry, who's speaking out of turn?
Excuse me.
Administrator, please remove that individual who felt the need to speak during public session, just as if we were in a regular meeting. I'm sorry, Ms. Lyra, did you have a comment back?
No, thank you for your time. I really think we could all work together to resolve this problem.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next caller is Kate Salerna from Sparta.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes,
So yeah,
please proceed.
I know I said I wasn't going to speak anymore unless it was important. So apparently I'm going to be speaking a lot. Just wanted to take a moment myself to, recognize transgender inclusion, and anybody in this county who is struggling with their, coming to grips with their identity and dealing with any sort of, bullying or anything associated with that. I just want you to know that this county, all people in this county are okay, inclusive, even if these commissioners won't speak on it. I just wanted to say happy inclusion. You are worthy. You are loved. Also, definitely just want to reiterate the Gottheimer comment. I'm very interested to hear that you guys had a meeting, so I'd love to know more about that. I'll be waiting for the next meeting to hear more about that, I hope. And then I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I got, since it is my turn to speak, I definitely wanted to make a comment about, what was mentioned, which was that when people blatantly use the terms China virus and Wuhan flu, they were not stopped at the last meeting. And I just want to make sure that it's on record as me stating that those people who are speaking, who use those inflammatory, derogatory terms, are supporters of the commissioners specifically. I mean, they called directly in support of you, against our resolution for inclusion, and specifically use that terminology. And you had every opportunity and were actually asked by other callers to condemn that terminology. You have said multiple times that you are not racist, that you don't support racism. But here we are again on record with just, your true colors on full display. This also, I just want to say this meeting is weird. The term litigation and Mr. Kelly, like, recusing him from the rest of the meeting, except for whatever you're doing in executive session, and how very quickly you're trying to move through this meeting to get there. Like, verbally, we can hear how, annoyed you are that we're even on this call right now. But frankly, there are community members here who have concerns, and we're going to be here listening. So it would be great if you would use transparency and, let us know what this litigation is, because we're aware of a lot of litigation going on in this county too, and some of it may be pertinent to what's going on here. So transparency would be good. That is all.
Our next caller is Amy Van Scriver from Paulsboro, New Jersey.
Yes, good evening. I first want to start with saying that I'm incredibly concerned that you're holding this meeting at 5 p.m. It's not common practice, and I hope that it was not done in hopes to hinder public participation. I'm very concerned with all the things that I'm seeing with discrimination towards different races, genders, the LGBTQ community, and disabled people. I personally am a medical cannabis patient. I am disabled, and I would like to ask you to revisit your resolution about cannabis. The state just voted 67% for recreational, and you're still using language that stigmatizes disabled people that are using this as medical treatment. Viable medical treatment that medical doctors are writing recommendations for instead of pharmaceuticals like fentanyl and Oxycontin that are actually the substances that you do have in your communities, the substances that are in your communities that no one voted on whether they wanted these drugstores to be available or not. They also do carry synthetic marijuana. It's called Marinol. I don't know why you're okay with that, synthetic, and not people using a natural substance for natural health. I find a lot of your things in the resolution to be incredibly misinformed, ignorant, and it terrifies me that you're making decisions with all of that misinformation and ignorance for communities that actually stigmatize medical patients when we're at a point in time that legalization is here for recreation. Please stop your ignorance.
Ma'am, can you please explain which resolution you're referring to? I'm just having a hard time following your
From
your commentary.
2018 about cannabis.
2018 resolution about cannabis, so a prior board. Okay.
Will you guys be taking a different stance and change the language and end the stigma, at least for medical patients?
I can tell you, I cannot speak for all members of this board, but I myself, I have family members that have medical marijuana cards. I'm a huge supporter of medical marijuana, so that's why I wasn't quite sure where you were going with this. And I don't think this board ever spoke out against that at any time, any of the current members on this board at all. So that's why I was just confused. I wanted clarification from you. I wasn't following where you were going with that.
Maybe we can have a meeting to remove that resolution, at least for medical.
I'll definitely discuss that with the board, and thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Thank you.
Does that conclude your comments?
Yes, it does.
Okay, very good. Our next caller is Katie Rotundi, Hampton Township.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to reiterate that I hope that before this meeting ends and you go into executive session, that you'll recognize Trans Visibility Day. I also am a little confused as to why, if Congressman Gottheimer's letter was sent out on March 22nd, which we found once articles came out about it, why that wasn't said at the last regular meeting. I think that information was quite pertinent to what was being discussed. And I'm also curious as to why only 2 of the 5 of you went to that meeting. My understanding would be that it would be very hard to get that commission together just to have a meeting with all of you and with the congressman's schedule. So I feel like if they can make that work, it's confusing to me why all 5 of you weren't there when we clearly have an issue.
Julie, I can answer that for you immediately. That was a private, you'll still have your time. That was a private meeting today. It was not a meeting that was open to the public. Therefore, if 5 of us attend, it creates a quorum. The law says we can have 2 commissioners at any given time. 3 creates a quorum. So actually all 5 of us RSVP'd, yes, we would be attending. And then we realized it was not a meeting that was open to the public and it was a private meeting. So 2 commissioners attended. We also were in receipt of Congressman Gottheimer's letter on the 22nd. Our public meeting was on the 24th. Our agenda is released to the newspaper the Friday prior, which I believe was the 19th. So that issue would not have made that agenda. But thank you for that. And whatever time, please concede back to Ms. Rotundi.
Well, frankly, I wish you hadn't interrupted me, because now I have other questions based on that because of incorrect information and what you just said, but I'll let that go for the next meeting. But I would just also like to say that I'm pretty, at this point, disgusted with the fact that you passed not the fact that you passed a pro-respect resolution, but that you can't follow it yourselves. Multiple people said that it was incorrect to say Wuhan virus or the China virus, referring to COVID, particularly when people were murdered due to hate crimes based on that. And it's been reported that crimes have gone up substantially towards Asian American people. 3,700 more crimes, and part of and the amount of those words being used, Wuhan virus and China virus, have gone up 44% since January within hate organizations and hate groups. So to not have called that out is pretty despicable on the heels of doing a pro-respect resolution, and to again not have a trans visibility proclamation just continues to reiterate and underline the fact that the 5 of you do not understand what is happening and what needs to be done. And that when you do things like this, it makes people go further into the closet. It makes Asian people more scared. This isn't me making things up. I'm queer identifying, I'm bisexual. I am not comfortable with people in my community not being recognized and having to feel scared. Time is up with the 5 of you not recognizing hate any longer. And also, you kicked me out of the meeting last time, and I was not someone who spoke out of turn, because despite disagreements, I've never spoken out of turn at a meeting. Thank you.
Our next caller is Christian Balaquez from Dover. Is Christian on the line? I'm going to proceed to the next caller then. Marina Redmond from Sayreville.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, wait, is this Christian?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Please start.
Yes, hello. I'm here to talk about cannabis. With the New Jersey legalizing cannabis, now all the towns have 120 days to either opt in or opt out of having cannabis businesses in their towns. I'm with Sativa Cross nonprofit, and we fight for cannabis patient rights and access to cannabis for everybody around New Jersey. There's lots of ignorant councils all around New Jersey that are banning cannabis, and we're just trying to help patients with better access. I just had COVID, and I use cannabis to treat my COVID. There's lots of studies coming out of the University of Chicago saying that cannabis actually can help with this COVID. The key findings, they're finding that CBD acts after viral entry to block viral replication, as demonstrated by loss of viral spike of protein and loss of viral RNA. So CBD makes the virus stop replicating in your lungs. CBD also induces expression of interferon genes involved in the host's innate immune response to COVID-19, but inhibits viral-induced cytokine expression that could lead to the cytokine storm. So CBD makes your body fight against the virus, and it can help people that are suffering from cannabis. The access of cannabis in New Jersey is lacking in New Jersey, and we need help from all our representatives to open up this cannabis access to people, especially in Sussex County. I know a lot of people in Sussex County that they can't drive 2+ hours to the dispensaries here in New Jersey. We would appreciate if the councils would help the patients, and I hope you would support cannabis businesses in Sussex County.
All right. Our next caller is Marina Redmond from Sayreville.
Yes, hi, my name is Marina Redmond. I'm also with Sativa Cross, and I would also like to ask you to please put in more medical marijuana dispensaries. Rethink that. We definitely need it more. I'm also disabled, and if you're disabled, I don't even know if you even have an access link, but they call access link access stink because it's horrible. And it's just or you can get a Lyft, or you can get a whatever type of taxi, but what if the taxi cab doesn't want to take you there? It's just ridiculous. So please reconsider it. I've been on it for like 4 years for anxiety, and the doctors say I have cancer, and it's been beautiful. You have 9 different locations of doctors' offices in your county that prescribe medical cannabis. And if they believe in this, I know you guys will too. Thank you.
Our last caller is Ed Grimes from Bayonne.
Good evening. There is another caller. Her name is Jessie Nicole.
Yes.
Can she speak? I think she wants to speak. I don't think she.
Mr. Grimes, let's first finish with your comments. Can you please start?
Yes. My name is Edward Grimes. I'm with sativacross.org. We're a 501c3 in New Jersey. We advocate for disabled people and for cannabis patients. And my pastor actually reached out to the LGBT community and wanted to know how he could minister to them better, given that there is a biblical difference on the biblical difference in marriage that's listed in the Bible. But he did reach out to them and wants to know how he can minister to them better. And because we're all God's creatures and we should all love each other and have respect for each other. We're all made from God. No matter how we feel about certain things, we have to respect each other, even if you don't agree with him. So we need to start right there, step one, and have respect for each other. Your last council, I'm glad to hear you support cannabis patients' rights, because your last commission did not. They signed resolutions against cannabis and stigmatized us, and patients are getting hit from all sides. Our medicine's not covered.
Amen, Lefty.
Our medicine is not covered by insurance. Our medicine is being taxed. The towns that aren't banning it are taxing us with a wheelchair tax, with a cancer tax, with a multiple
Amen.
taxing the sick people. They're not trying to find ways to raise the prices of insulin. They're trying to find
That
a way.
are already being taxed in this
I'm
state.
sorry, who's speaking? Can you mute that caller? Caller, please let the gentleman speak, whoever that female voice is. You cannot
I
speak now.
appreciate it. That's all right. She's great. I like it. She's a patient herself, and she has epilepsy. That's why she's calling tonight. Marina called before because she suffered. There's a lot of suffering here tonight. Marina lost her leg, and she was in a hospital with PTSD as a child, because there's a lot of suffering here, and people need to get on board with medical cannabis and help the sick and the dying. The people in wheelchairs are put last, and I keep saying to all these councils, put yourself in a wheelchair for one day. Spend one day in a wheelchair, and you'll see how hard it is for sick and dying people to get around in New Jersey. And then we got 1 minute. And like I said, we get hit from all sides. We got taxes now. We got towns banning our medicine. We need help, and we need a resolution. And if you guys could put up a resolution supporting medical patients, that would be a great step forward to help the sick and the dying people in your county. I'm up in Sussex all the time. I go to the sunflower fields all the time. I'm up there having dinner all the time. I love it up there. I go to the mountains. I love it up there. I would love to have a dispensary up there, and no stigma up there. It would be nice. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Thank you.
That is my last caller.
Okay. Let me just check. There was an individual, Jessica Cole, that the gentleman had mentioned. I see a hand raised.
Okay, unmuted, that would be me.
Yes, Ms. Cole, can you please share your municipality so the clerk can record that?
Yes, I'm in Berlin, Camden County.
And Ms. Cole, what is your first name?
Jessie, Jessi.
Okay. You have 3 minutes or less. You can start.
All right, I'd like to say, first of all, thank you for even having this meeting. Second of all, I'm originally from Mississippi, and I hope and pray that New Jersey can get on board with their programs with everybody. And that means to be above and beyond where Mississippi's at. I would like for medical marijuana patients or recreational cannabis patients not to be treated as if they are a lower quality individual. I myself have multiple titanium implants in my body. I'm epileptic. I have a disease called catamenial epilepsy that affects 1 in 30 women from the age of 30 to 45 years old. 1 in 30 women get what I have. It goes misdiagnosed about 98% of the time. I bash my teeth out. I've given myself multiple concussions. And the whole reason I was not able to go visit my family or to see them in Mississippi is because of the small-minded Southern Baptist ideologically that they sit with down there. But I can say that by them witnessing me have 1 epileptic seizure, it changed both the mindset of my entire family and the mindset of the entire county, which would be Newton County, Mississippi, judge, clerk, and everybody else that came to help me the day that I bashed my teeth out, shattered half of my skull, all because of my epilepsy. Prior to that, my own family, they did not even want me to be in their home because they looked at cannabis the same as people look at heroin. Well, the problem with that is because the municipalities considering it and speaking in the terminology that we're using and treating and sentencing people just as if they are on heroin. Not to say that the people with a drug problem with heroin should be less than. I'm just saying that I have an issue with a life-saving medication such as cannabis that can save, has saved my life. And I would appreciate the state
1
that we
minute.
live, ma'am.
You have 1 minute.
I just appreciate the state that's overtaxing us absurdly and above and beyond. Recognize this medication as a life-saving medication and not just as a medication that they want to get the tax revenue from to save this state. When you have to pay a 48% tax to leave the state of New Jersey as an exit tax after you've already paid all those property, real estate taxes and mortgage taxes here in this state, why in God's name are we being taxed and forced to buy from a corporate dispensary? Why is it not looked upon as both something that can save your life as well as something that can help your mental health and give you a recreational something, growing cannabis that can save your life? Growing cannabis is much more than just growing a plant and saving money. Although it does do that, it also helps an individual that's forced to sit at home that people might look at that don't want to work.
Your time is up. Thank you very much.
Well, obviously, we don't care to listen.
Yeah, you've surpassed your time. Thank you.
Okay, that was the last speaker. I need a motion to close the meeting to the public
Still move.
and a second.
Up, second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, just want to make one comment for the
Hey,
caller.
Dawn,
Yes.
I would like to make one comment. Well, actually, I have two comments and one.
Chris, I'm going to make my
Yes.
comments and then I'll go to each commissioner.
Go ahead.
I just would like to address one thing, actually two things. The meeting again this evening was a special meeting that did not have, resolutions and different things that you were speaking about on it, which is perfectly acceptable because you can speak about whatever it is that you like, any issue that you think is of impact in the county. So I was interested to hear some of the commentary from medical marijuana patients from around the state. I can say, again, I can only speak for myself, but I think the taxes on medicinal marijuana are just absolutely outrageous. New Jersey is not learning its lesson with taxes and they will continue to tax. And it's absolutely shameful. The state has been crystal clear, both Democrat and Republicans have been crystal clear about their support for medical use of marijuana and even the expanded list under Chris Christie of conditions that were actually recognized for that. So I'm sorry that you've gone through the suffering that you have gone through. And I could not agree with you more by cost. From a cost standpoint, it's a sin, the amount of taxes that the state is, in essence, I believe they're preying on patients who really rely on this medication. And for some, it really changes their total quality of life and changes their life. So thank you for sharing those stories with us. And then again, as far as this meeting, you are always welcome to come to a publicized meeting, and protocol requires, if we are going to meet as 5, that we go through the open public sessions. Obviously, we had nothing else on the agenda this evening other than that issue set specifically on our agenda. The board is reviewing guidance put forward by our attorney to comply with local government services regulations. And that's the category that it falls under. That's all we can share at this time. But again, this was not a regularly scheduled meeting based upon new information that we received. Okay, so Commissioner Carney.
Yes, thank you. Sorry to cut you off there. I didn't mean to do that. It's raining where I'm at. I'm in my car. So I have 2 questions and two comments and then one question. I don't know if you'll be able to answer it or Sylvia will be able to answer that, but I'll just start my comments. I agree with the marijuana thing. Taxes are absolutely crazy. But the one gentleman did say, you know, we should have more medical marijuana facilities around here. That's really not up to us. That starts with the state. But a resolution, I believe he also said, I'll do one better. I will talk to our legislators and see if they could do something, because, you know, we do resolutions all the time and it doesn't seem to get anywhere. So I can reach out to them and see if they could do something. I'm very surprised that we have DoorDash, and I'm not trying to be a wise guy. You have DoorDash that delivers any kind of food that you want, and you can't get something like that to deliver medical marijuana to these people who can't drive or have no one to drive them. I mean, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. As far as Congressman Gottheimer's meeting, Anthony and we could put something together for our next meeting and talk about that a little bit more. But there's nothing really that I've learned, and Deputy Director Fasano could chime in when it's his turn, but nothing that we learned that I thought that you couldn't get public information about. There was nothing more than you can find online. And then just my one question, Dawn, and I know Sylvia, her and I spoke about this before. When it comes to proclamations, my understanding was you guys put a resolution together to have a request when it comes to proclamations. So if our audience wants a proclamation, they have to put this request in, it gets approved, and then brought to our meeting. Is that the right protocol? Just so I understand, and then everybody else understands as well.
Correct, yeah.
You can go to the,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, if you go to the county website, there's a proclamation request form, and there's criteria for the proclamation.
Perfect. All right, well, that answers my question. Hope it answered some questions from our callers. Thank you, Director.
Okay, Commissioner Patillo.
Thank you, John. I would like to say that I was on the board in 2018 when that resolution was written and passed. That was not about medical marijuana. Matter of fact, when we spoke that evening, we made it clear that this was only about recreational marijuana. It wasn't about criminalization, and it was not about medical marijuana. I agree with everything that was said here about medical marijuana, and I never understood why it just wasn't sold in a pharmacy just like any other drug. I have a dear friend who has a young daughter who has epilepsy, and the drug is a miracle drug as far as I'm concerned for her health. Unfortunately, they have to travel far to get it. It's way out of the way, and it's time consuming. And I agree with the callers that feel like there's a stigma on it. And for some reason, I don't know why, they won't recognize it as a medicine, just like they would recognize anything else that works against these different diseases as a medicine. So I want you to know that I'm very grateful that you spoke. I am so sorry that some of you are suffering, but I am with you on this. I believe in medical marijuana. So thank you.
Commissioner Yardley.
Yeah, I'd like to just say I've never had a problem with medical marijuana. It has its uses for those people that need it, and that it's very helpful to many people that have chronic illnesses and chronic pain. Thank you. That's it.
Deputy Director Fasano.
Thank you, Dawn, and I'll pick up right where Herb left off. I too don't have any issue with medical marijuana. I support it 100% and also support any effort to make it easier for those who need it to get it, regardless of where they are in the state of New Jersey. And regarding the Congressman's briefing today that Commissioner Carney and I had the opportunity to participate in, I'm very grateful to the Congressman for inviting us to that event, for sharing what he shared with the New Jersey Department of Homeland Security and Preparedness. That meeting did have to do with Homeland Security. I agree with Commissioner Carney's assessment of what was learned, but that meeting, per the Congressman's request, was closed. It was closed to the public. It was only for elected officials, and it was to discuss, as he characterized it, sensitive information regarding Homeland Security. So certainly we'll have more to say about that at our next meeting, but that was really what that meeting was about. Other than that, I have no comments, so thank you, Dawn.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on. Let me get through. All right, Number 22, reminders, please check the county's website at www.sussex.nj.us for meeting schedules. 23, executive session, resolution providing for an executive closed session not to open to the public in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12 at SEQ. Terry?
Whereas the subject matters about to be discussed may be excluded from the public portion of the meeting by resolution of the Board of County Commissioners as an exception to the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B, and whereas it appears necessary for the Board of County Commissioners to discuss such matters in executive session, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Sussex, in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12B and NJSA 10:4-13, that the board at this time enter into an executive session from which the public shall be excluded, and be it further resolved that the general nature of the subjects to be discussed relate to the following item authorized by NJSA 10:4-12B as designated. Number 7, matters relating to litigation negotiations and the attorney-client privilege, DLGS compliance. Be it further resolved that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Sussex County Board of County Commissioners, or provided by the law that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. And be it further resolved that upon the completion of the business which the board has entered into the executive session, the board will not reconvene its meeting in the open. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, will not reconvene its meeting open to the public, and therefore will adjourn from executive session.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the executive session resolution and enter into executive session.
So moved.
And a second.
Second, Anthony.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, we are now entering into executive session. Thank you to all the callers. Please stay safe. The weather is going to be not great this evening from what I understand. Please be safe, and I will see you soon.
Thank you guys for everything you've done. I really appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you.